Hello. I was going to say my friends, but you may not feel that way about me, especially if you stick around. This reading is intended for someone who is a divine masculine. That is someone who thinks that he or she is in a soul connection. It doesn't matter whether we use the term masculine to refer to a certain set of characteristics. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Similarly, the word feminine refers to a different set of characteristics. You don't have to be born male or female to be either one. In fact, we all have both sets of characteristics, and we need to develop them in a balanced fashion. So, if you are a divine masculine, whether you consider yourself to be a twin flame or a divine masculine or whatever other term you care to use, you have to balance those things. But right now, you are probably seriously out of balance. And I'm not going to sugarcoat things. If you don't like what I have to say, please remember that you are free to click away. You have freedom to do that. You don't have to stick around and listen. There's no requirement to do that at all. When you're ready, listen. If you're not ready, don't listen. It's not going to bother me at all. All right, so let's get into it. I asked for these 3 cards to show you that this reading is for you or not. So this first one, 6 of Cups, you believe that you are connected to someone else, seemingly at a soul level. This connection does not make any sense to you at all. It doesn't make any sense to them either. But there it is. You feel connected to this person in a way that you can't explain or describe, or worst of all, get away from. And right next to it is the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords is a card describing someone who believes they are trapped. But in fact, they are not. They are free. Just like you are free to click away if you don't like what I have to say, this person is also free. They are only staying out of a belief in illusions or a way of thinking. Changing the way you think can be the hardest thing to do. So it's not as easy as it sounds to say, change your thoughts, change your reality. But that's what this card is saying. You have the power to change your situation, to change yourself, to change whatever it is that you think needs changing. You have the power to do it. But you're going to have to change how you think about things. And that can be very challenging. The Wheel of Fortune indicates that change is coming. It is inevitable. Whether you like it or not, no matter how hard you try to keep it from happening, it is going to happen. And most likely, if you are a divine masculine, you really, really like the status quo. Oh, sure, you might have complained about it a lot, but the truth is, you like things the way they were. And you don't want to change. Certainly not the way you're being called to change. All right. Here are your messages to start with. This is the Jungian Tarot. It is not the same as the standard tarot. It draws on archetypes based on Jung's teachings, and beliefs. Jung was an alchemist as well as a psychotherapist, and had a very strong belief in spirituality and spiritual reality. And archetypes. You've probably heard of archetypes. Archetypes were his big thing, and this deck is supposed to be about those archetypes. You'll have to bear with me for a minute. This is a new deck to me, and none of the cards are labeled, as you can see. So it makes figuring out what's what and what I'm supposed to be looking up a little confusing. I can't use standard tarot definitions because I could, but they don't quite fit. Princess of Wands. Sun in Aries and Moon in Capricorn. Another way of thinking of this would be as the Page of Wands. As I have said repeatedly, tarot does not refer to gender. No matter what the person on the card looks like, it does not refer to males only or females only. This is someone young, immature. Doesn't matter whether they're male or female. Okay, the description is, appears to be an extrovert, is actually insecure and vulnerable, seeks social spotlight, always acts on impulse, imaginative, witty, or irritating and immature, clever but not too intelligent. Next up, we have the Nine of Discs, or Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles says selfishness, egocentric control, no concern about feelings of others. Everything revolves around a person getting what he or she wants. At best, one is earned reward, at worst, ruthless and destructive. Flouting social conventions by which others must abide. So I would add entitled to this. So far, this is sounding like a classic Divine Masculine. All right, Ten of Swords. This is where things get interesting. This is what is being presented to you. The question is, will you take the leap and accept this gift that's being presented to you? Ten of Swords. This is a very different definition than standard tarot. Success by working together. Partners or associates are very different, but a perfect match. Hard work, long hours together pay off. Productive marriage. Under bad circumstances, partners disagree. Disloyalty, bad feelings, and diminished profits. So it is likely that both of those will apply to you, depending on where you are at. Since you are watching this reading, I would guess you are more at the bad circumstances, partners disagree, disloyalty, bad feelings, diminished profits, end of things. You're not going to get to the positive one until after you take the leap, the Fool's leap. This is the Fool. Archetype of creative emptiness. An organized group, the underworld, the dead, originality, reproduction, regeneration, social urge. Ideas ahead of their time, which will not bear fruit until the next generation. Foundations for advancement of human welfare. The non-existent roots of the collective unconscious. So, the Fool is about leaping into the unknown. The creative emptiness. In order to experience the positive aspects of this card, you're going to have to make the leap, which means leaving behind all of this. Finally, sorry, it's crooked. We have the Two of Swords. So for the Two of Swords, opposition and loss. Rivalry, opposition, criticism, the end, no possibility of resolution of a problem. Friendship destroyed, marriage ends in divorce or death of spouse, end of partnership or business relationship, loss as a result of impulsive action. This was impulsive, right? The Page of Wands, very impulsive. Let's see, where was I? Okay, in painting, literature, and music, the card is favorable, meaning increased imagination and intuition. So if you are working with creative things, perhaps you are deciding, or perhaps you are being called to move from a more materialistic situation into a more creative one, more inspired one, more intuitive situation. and doing things, something creative, like painting or literature or music. But intuition could be a number of things, like being a tarot reader. In any case, if you are moving in that direction, then it's a positive card. If you are still holding on to this stuff up here, it's all going to come to a crashing to a halt. It's going to disappear. It's all going to go away. So that's what this Jungian Tarot has for you. Let's see. Perhaps some advice is in order. I think it's pretty clear that you have to change directions away from your impulsiveness and immaturity and selfishness. But perhaps one of these cards will give you something more definite. I don't know. 10 of Wands. So you're feeling overwhelmed by everything. That's not surprising. You're going through a lot. But you have to understand, you don't have to carry all of those wands. You can put some of them down. And you have somebody in your life who is a Queen of Swords in reverse. So manipulative, controlling, domineering, very much like that, this card over here. Somebody who always wants their own way. And perhaps this is a person that you listen to far too much, that you've been going to for advice, and you've been getting bad advice because they're increasing your burden instead of decreasing it. You have the Eight of Pentacles. This is my self-cultivation card. It means you have a lot of work ahead of you. Inner work. Changing who you are. It's going to take a while. You're just planting the seed. It's just beginning. It could take years to see the results. In the meantime, you're going to have to protect yourself, because people that you have known for years and years and years, the people that are part of your current life, your current lifestyle, are not going to understand what's happening. They're not going to be tolerant or understanding. They'll probably think you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And they will try to undermine you at every opportunity because they don't want change. And if you change, it might force them to change as well. This is the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is opening of the heart chakra. It is the beginning of emotional intelligence for you. Sometimes people see it as a new relationship, but I really don't see it that way. And I think that's about it for you. All right, one last thing. This is what you are headed for. If you've been around long enough to be familiar with the terms, oh my goodness, you got the Ace of Wands too. Jeez. How many aces did you get? I didn't see the Ace of Swords, so you don't have any clarity. All right. It's okay. You've got three out of 4 aces. That's pretty good. It's lots of beginning energy. And of course, the Emperor is your ultimate goal. I hope you get there. It won't be easy. But the Emperor is the physical representation of the Divine Masculine. So the Emperor is someone who, usually the term is protects and provides. But this is also someone who is in tune with nature, who doesn't seek to dominate, but works with nature, works with the feminine, works with others and cares for them, helps them, nurtures them, and helps them to grow by providing stability instead of tearing them down or criticizing them. Hold space. I don't know if that is going to make sense to you. But in order for someone to grow, you have to make space for them. You have to, for a child, when you tell them what not to do, that's important, like don't run out in the road. But you also have to tell them to point them in the right direction, but still leave them with enough room to make their own decisions, to make their own mistakes, as long as those mistakes aren't too big. It's okay if someone falls down and scrapes their knee because they fell off their bike or whatever. It's not okay if they do something that ends up causing serious or lasting harm to themselves or someone else. So it's a pretty nuanced kind of person. I hope you get there. It would be great for everybody that you care about. And, of course, for yourself. It would change your life. Good luck.